Good day, everyone. I am Ms. Christy Macabilan, the first reporter in Chapter 5, which is the discounted cash flows method. In financial management, it has been discussed that a way to determine the value of an investment opportunity is by determining the actual cash generated by a particular asset. Let us recall that a discounted cash flows analysis investment can be done by determining the present value of the net cash flows of the investment opportunity. In conceptual framework and accounting standards, it was discussed that the cash flows are presented and analyzed based on resources and activities which are categorized as operating, investing, and financing. In determining the value of the asset, it is essential to include amount of cash flow that will be available for the claims of the equity owners. Next is the net cash flows. It refers to the amount of cash available for distribution to both debt and equity claims of the business or asset. This is calculated from the net cash generated from operations and for investment over time. For JCBO, the net cash flows generated will be based on the cash flows from the operating and investing activities, since that represents already the amount earned or will be earned from the business and the amount that is required to be infused in the operations to generate more profit. Net cash flows is preferred as basis of evaluation if any of the following conditions are present. First, the company does not pay dividends. Second, the company pays dividends but the amount paid out significantly differs from its capacity to pay dividends. Third, net cash flows and profits are aligned within a reasonable forecast period. And last, investor has a control perspective. If an investor can exert control over a company, dividends can be adjusted based on the decision of the controlling investor. Using net cash flows over other cash flow concepts is more advantageous in evaluation activity since this metric can be directly used as input to a DCF model. This is not the case for other cash flow or earnings measures such as EBITDA, EBIT, net income, and cash flow from operations since these metrics might have missed or double counted an item. EBITDA and EBIT are both metrics that are before taxes. Cash flows that are available to investors should be after satisfying tax requirement of the government. EBITDA and EBIT also do not consider differences in capital structures since it does not capture interest payments, dividends for preference shares, and funds sourced from bondholders to fund additional investments. And all these measures also do not consider reinvestment of cash flows made into the firm for additional working capital and fixed asset investment that are necessary to maximize long-term stability of the business. In valuation, analysts find analyzing cash flows and its sources helpful in understanding the following. First is the source of financing to needed investments. Are investments internally funded by cash generated from operations or debt equity financing is necessary? The best case for firms is to fund its investments wholly or partly through cash from operations. Heavy reliance on external financing from lenders or shareholders may signal that cash from operations is not enough to support the firm's long-term stability. Reliance on debt financing. Debt financing is an excellent financing strategy, especially for expanding companies. However, it can become a problem for a firm if its cash from operations is insufficient to repay existing debt obligations. The situations worsen if firms continuously refinance borrowing that come due by another borrowing. And last is the quality of earnings. It is significant department between cash flows and income may indicate earnings does not get converted to cash easily, suggesting low quality. Next, There are two levels of net cash flows. First is net cash flow to the firm, and second, the net cash flow to equity. The net cash flows to the firm is the amount made available to both debt and equity claims against the company. The net cash flow to equity represents the amount of cash flows made available to the equity stockholders after deducting the net debt or the outstanding liabilities to the creditors less available cash balance of the company. The net cash flows can be determined by referring to the financial statements of the company. And that's all. Thank you.